Let's learn about expressions, equations, and inequalities, and we'll be working with addition and subtraction problems still. We had learned about these different expressions like 37, just a single number, or an expression that involves a subtraction sign here, 83 minus 15, or an expression can even include a set of parentheses. We had also talked about evaluating these expressions, where it is that we would find that single value that those expressions were equal to. 83 minus 15 evaluates down to that single number of 68. Okay, I've written a whole bunch of expressions and also some equations on this screen. I'm going to point at them and you tell me whether it's an expression or an equation. 87, that is an expression. 81 plus 19 minus 8 is a expression. 49 minus 16 plus 5 equaling 28. That there is not an expression. It is what's called an equation. 54 minus 19 is an expression. Out of the final two, point at the one which is an expression. Hopefully you're pointing at that one right there. Now, why is this over here what we call an equation? This too, even though I crossed it out, would be an equation. What do those have that the other expressions do not have? They've got that equal sign. Let's look at the definition for an equation. An equation is defined as a mathematical sentence with an equal sign. So it has to have that equal sign. So for instance, we could have 3 plus 1 equaling 1 plus 3. That there would be an equation. We also could have 5 plus 7 equaling 12. That there could be an equation. Or you can even have a set of parentheses within your equation as long as there is an equal sign. 8 minus 5 is 3. Where what's on the left-hand side of the equation must balance with what's on the right-hand side, so that those sides are equal, so that we have an equation. It is a sentence with that equal sign. A sentence has to be true. So again, I could have expressions where it's a single number, or it could be an expression where it is there's different operations and even parentheses. As before, I could simplify these expressions. And then so 43 minus 23 is just 20. It would have been much simpler for me to just see 20 rather than seeing 43 minus 15 plus 8. Now this one in lilac here is an equation. We could have an equation, and the equation must have an equal sign. Now, the other thing that you can do with the equation, so I can really show you that this is true, is we could evaluate each of these sides of the equation. In fact, 98 minus 32, that there's an expression on the left-hand side of the equation. 50 plus 16 is an expression as well. 50 plus 16 evaluates to 66. 98 minus 32, 6. 9 minus 3 is 6, is also 66. I've evaluated that equation to show you that that equation is true. The final thing that we need to learn about is inequalities. Okay, and then so this in, that prefix in, means not. And then so it's not equal when they're not equal to each other. When they're not equal to each other, we're comparing expressions in this case. We'll be comparing expressions using the greater than or even the less than sign. If they were equalities, we would use the equal sign. So we'll end up with number sentences for inequalities that will look like this. They'll look like 8 minus 2 is greater than 3. And the reason that we know that 8 minus 2 is greater than 3 is 8 minus 2 evaluates to 6, and 6 is greater than 3. These are the types of problems that you'll end up seeing. Remember that this symbol here is greater than. This symbol here is less than. And so the instructions say to copy and complete by using the greater than, less than, or equal symbol. And then so we've got this here where there's an expression here that's already just 80, and we've got an expression over here that is equal to something. What we need to do is we need to figure out what this expression is worth to be able to compare the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So what we will do is we will evaluate or simplify each of those sides. 80 is just 80 already. 58 minus 17 is 41. And we're adding 41 with 37. So we must show our work to show whether it's greater than, less than, or equal. 37 plus 41 is 78. So 78 is greater than, 80 is greater than 78. I would have had to say 78 is less than 80, but I'll read it from left to right. So 80 is greater than 78. 80 is greater than 37 plus 58 minus 17. Again, we must show our work. Here I have another example. Compare the expressions by using less than, greater than, or equal. Again, I have two expressions. And so I will evaluate or simplify each of those expressions. This one on the right-hand side looks like it's easier to evaluate and simplify. This one on the right-hand side, we remember to do our parentheses first. And if you need to write that out to be able to go ahead and regroup it, then go ahead and do so. 10 minus 1 is 9. 92 plus 17, 109. 109 is bigger than 37. Okay, so we put a greater than sign there. After you've shown all that work, be very careful to write in the correct sign. Remember that this is less than, this is greater than. Or if the two expressions happen to be equal, then you can go ahead and write equal. This here, whole thing here, is called an inequality, that whole number sentence. Here I'm asked to do the same thing, or I'm asked to compare. I'll work with the left-hand side here. Parentheses first. 36 plus 14 is 50. And that's 100 minus 50, which is 50. 75 minus 25, 50. So I would put an equal sign. Again, simplify each side down to that single number, and then write that symbol there, the greater than, less than, or equal symbol. Okay, it's time for you to try. I'd like you to go ahead and compare using the less than, greater than, or equal sign, and please remember to show your work when you're simplifying these expressions. Simplify the expressions and put in the appropriate sign. Hit pause. For that first problem, 87 plus 19, I'll write it off to this side. We get 106. For the right-hand side, that's 178 minus 20 plus 15. I know that 20 plus 15 is 35. And then so that's 178 minus 35. 143. I know that 106 is less than 143, so I can put the less than sign there. For my other problem, I'll start with the left-hand side. That evaluates to 65. The right-hand side, 21 minus 7 is 14. And then I have 87 minus 14. 7 minus 4 is 3, and 8 minus 1 is 7, so that 65 is less than 73. Did you get 65 is less than 73 as your final inequality? Did you get 106 is less than 143 for your final inequality? In other words, did you evaluate each of those expressions correctly? Check your work. Alright, let's go ahead and review. So I've got this here where I'm asked to compare them. And then so I've got on the left-hand side, I've got this thing called a what? Right, expression. And then what should I do with that expression? I should simplify it down to one number. My right-hand side, what do I do first? I'm going to simplify it, right? I'll do 52 minus 39 first. 52 minus 39 is 13. And then so I have 100 minus 13, which is 87. So 107 is less than 87. This whole thing, 107 less than 87, is a what? In what? Inequality. Inequality. What symbol did I just write? Right, that's the greater than symbol. And then so if I write 83 plus 2 is greater than, I don't know, 17 plus 28, this inequality would hold true. I'll show it to you. 85 is greater than 45. That inequality holds true. The other one is an equality, where it is that we must have a what with an equality? We must have an equal sign. So read that number sentence for us. 87 is equal to 45 plus 43. That there is an equality. So again, really the key when you're working with that and when you're comparing them and you're asked to figure out whether an expression is greater than, less than, or equal, you must follow the order of operations. Follow the steps to simplify or evaluate each of the expressions on each side, and then carefully fill in either greater than, less than, or equal.